Welcome back to the United Stand. Can Amorim survive? Emery talks. Unai Emery talks now emerge as some outlets are claiming he is the favourite to take over from Ruben Amorim. Should he walk? Should he resign? Or should he get the sack? As ever, I want your views. I want your opinions on this in the comment section below. And, of course, the live chat. Plus, big words from David Beckham, Man United and England legend David Beckham speaking after the Manchester derby defeat. There's loads to go through, but it does feel like a real horrible couple of days again as a Manchester United fan. Turmoil. I heard Rory Jennings say something earlier today, which is United can never win valiantly. I think we've had some valiant wins on the pitch, but he is right. Whenever we lose, the outcry is substantial, and I do understand why, but it is the state of this fallen, broken, decrepit, crumbling, maybe never to return again in my lifetime giant. And that is sort of the way I feel at this particular moment in time. But look, hit like button, share and subscribe straight away. We get a poll running straight away. Is Unai Emery the answer to Manchester United's problems? We're going to be delving into that throughout the course. Sorry, I've received the message. I thought it was about what we're talking about. It isn't. It wasn't important. We'll get back to what we're doing. But yeah, we can get a poll running. Is it right? Is he the right replacement for Amorim if he comes in? And we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But of course, Sunday was horrible. And I have to hold my hands up. I thought we could beat City. I thought we could win. Nothing I said in the build-up to the game changes. I don't think City have necessarily turned a corner. I don't even think City were particularly great. I mean, they went 2-0 and 3-0 up and then couldn't keep the ball against us. We actually had a lot of possession. Once Ruben put Bruno into his best position, where he's one of the best in the world, in the 10. When he put Diallo on the right, when Mainu came into the middle, we became a better side and we had chances to score. We had chances in the first half to create goal-scoring opportunities, but messed up each and every single one. We pressed Rodri off the ball, started very well, but as ever, poor final balls, poor finishing. The statistics this season don't lie. Still more touches in opponents' boxes per game than any other team. Still the highest XG. And yet, there is a little bit of a caveat to this game before anybody loses their mind. A lot of our chances, in terms of the shots, because you have to have a shot to lead to XG, came after we were 3-0 down. That is absolutely fair. But we still missed those chances, which we've done at 1-0 down, at 0-0, and even at 1-0 up in the Burnley game, missed really big chances. I won't ignore that. I can't do it. I absolutely can't do it. But overall, City deserved the game. City deserved to win. Were they 3-0 better than us? Maybe, maybe not. It's not really that important to me personally to have that conversation, as many have pointed out. But it's a terrible start to the campaign. And Ruben Amorim's job is under pressure. Now, I know Mark reacted this morning to the conversation about Sir Jim thinking this is a Champions League qualification-worthy squad. That worries me, if the board really think that. That worries me if they think this squad really is good enough, thick enough, and deep enough to beat one of Liverpool, City, Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle to one of those top 4, top 5 positions. In fact, you've got to beat 2 of those teams to guarantee a Champions League spot, and I don't know if our squad is. We have players that are on par with many a player in their squad, and Mbumo and Cunha, Bruno Fernandes, if he's played at a 10, as an example. I think we have some talent, there's no doubt about it, but is it deep enough? Does it sit on our bench? Does it even stretch across 11? Does it go on our bench? Does it go into our reserves? The answer is simply no, and I think that is absolutely delusional. Can Ruben survive it? That's the question. And the answer is no for me. I don't necessarily want him to be sacked, by the way. I've been very, very clear about this the whole time, that I'm more focused on what Ineos are doing. I'm more focused are we going to change direction? Are we going to stay on course? Are we going to go for a completely different style of football, profile of player? We're going to move in a new direction again. I already worry a lot of people want Xavi and Areola. By the way, two very good managers. Two managers that could improve our win percentage, no doubt about it. But they're going to both come in and have a problem straight away that we have no left wingers. Straight away, there's an imbalance in the squad after Garnacho and Rashford and Sancho have all moved on. And they all had to move on, by the way. We've started to build for a system that doesn't use wingers. And now we're looking like fans want us to go back the other way. That worries me more than Ruben Amorim staying, if I'm being absolutely honest with you, because by the time we build that balance and fix the midfield and fix the defence and make sure we've got the good enough goalkeeper, we could be in a situation where the fans have already lost patience again. The players are throwing the manager under the bus again. And we're having the manager in, manager out debates. We've got the silver bullet out. We've got all the Man United fans online selling their snake skin oil, telling everybody that, oh, this will cure you. This will make you better. And we're back to where we are the 9th time on the bounce. So don't for one single second think I'm protecting Ruben Amorim. His win percentage is abysmal. There isn't enough adaptation within games. I'm not talking formation. I'm talking, okay, well, maybe we'll invert the fullbacks at this point. Maybe we'll drop a player into midfield, but keep the shape similar. Whatever it may. You could keep exactly the same shape by and large, but take off not have a striker on, play two 10s in a false 9 position that's split and put an extra midfielder in for periods of games. There are things you could do, right? And I'm spitballing here, but you get my point. I'm not protecting Ruben Amorim, but I'm not going to suddenly sit here and think that one manager fixes us, one manager saves us. I can't personally do that. I can't. This here says, Terry, what do you think of Areola? Very talented manager. Fantastic job at Bournemouth. 2 things. One, I put a poll out on purpose yesterday with Southgate's name on it because he's linked to us. Nuno, because he plays pragmatically. Areola, and there was somebody else's name on that poll. I forget who else was on it. I forget who else was on it. And Grasner, Oliver Grasner, who plays a very similar system to us. So a couple of managers with similar systems, another manager in Southgate heavily linked to us, and then someone who's quite exciting from the Prem. And the consistent theme was the state of that list, the state of that list, the state of that list. Who else is there? You can go for Xavi. Who are the other managers out there that are more exciting, that get the juices flowing that fans want? That's my question. Unai Emery's been linked today. We'll get into him in a moment. I'd love to know what you think on that. But Areola's good, but he's going to come into the same problems. A team that doesn't want to work as hard as his Bournemouth team do. A side that will not be ready to play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 instantly because we have no left wingers. And yes, Cunha can go out there, but it's a square peg and a round hole, which means we'll have imbalance. He'll also come a cropper. One of them, Bumo or Ahmad's going to be dropped, and then their fanboys will start to attack him every step of the way they can, which we've seen before, because those fans like carnage. They're like the Joker from The Dark Knight. So I like him, but he's going to face the same problems. Yes, the win percentage might be 20% higher. But don't tell me that's not going to satisfy you. That's going to satisfy no one who's negative and toxic. Do you know how I know that? We had managers in the high 50s, coming second, third in the league, winning trophies, and we wanted them out because the football was boring, because we weren't on that next level up. But we're never going to get to the next level when you have the players coming out again. Moyes, LVG, Jose, Oli, Ragnick, Ten Hag, 7th manager running now. The reports of don't like the training, don't like the coaching, don't like the system, can't get to grips with it. There is a pattern there that I will not and cannot ignore. And that is these players want to play their way. And ever before a squad is built for any particular style of play, that manager's gone. And if we change direction again, we're doomed. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't remove Amorim. But I don't believe in this silver bullet BS. Tony here says, Cunha and Ahmad can easily play on the left. It's not a problem. Tony Marshall, respect you, bro. Thank you for the super chat. The problem is with what you've just said is that is 2 players playing out of position again. And I understand they can play there. They're never going to be as effective as in their natural positions. We've started to build a squad for a different way of playing. Let's go. That's cool. Let's go back in the other direction. But we've got to stick in that direction. And the fans have got to understand it's 3 years to build a squad where we're going to be consistent. Now, I don't want to hear the nonsense of, but if we just won a few more games each month, we'd stay patient. Why didn't we stay patient for LVG? Why didn't we stay patient for Jose? Why didn't we stay patient for Ollie? Why didn't we stay patient for Ten Hag? When their win percentage was at 20 to 25% higher than the current guy. We hated that as well. We don't have the patience for it. Yes, the results now are worse than we've seen. But let's not rewrite history here. Let's not rewrite history. This super chat here from Mohammed says, I would love to have either Conte or Emery. Conte would die in a month. He'd die in a month because he doesn't have the quality. The players wouldn't work hard enough. They wouldn't be as resolute. They wouldn't run through brick walls for him. They might do it for a few games. They wouldn't do it consistently. He'd fall out with the players. The players would run to the agents, would run to the media. He'd fall out with the owners for not getting rid of enough players soon enough. And it would end in tears and disaster. We'll come, it says, or Emery, but only problem is with that is they are not afraid to criticise the board if they don't get what they want. Yeah, exactly. It won't work. V here says, Brother Terry, you look tired of the same old, you know what, like other real fans. Greeting from Chicago. I'm tired of the fact that we keep saying the same thing over and over again as Man United fans. And it's now got even worse, where fans are talking online, big audiences, big numbers, big TikToks, big clips, big X accounts. Get rid. What's your solution? That's not my job. Cowards, as Mark called them on my show this morning. Cowards. They don't want to give a solution because they're scared of losing support. And typically in life, that's when you lose support. Inzaghi, Carrick, Rudback, promote Harry to player manager. Be realistic. We aren't beating Chelsea. Not a chance. We are awful. Very unlikely to beat Chelsea this weekend. Very unlikely indeed. I can't see us doing it. Not after now that I've seen the players come out and complain. Can't see it. Can't see it. Personally. First, it was Rashford, then Garnacho, then Mainu. The writing is on the wall. There's so many signs. The thing is, Lee Dixon, and maybe I don't quite know if you're doing this, but you might be having a pop at Amorim. But again, I've seen it with all the previous managers. Once we get rid of Pogba, once we get rid of Van der Beek, once we get rid of... Right back to once we get rid of Fellaini, man. Once Rooney's moved on. We've done it consistently. No one player or manager has ever been the root cause of our problems, but every time we're struggling and in turmoil, we blame an individual player or two. Oh, Bruno, man. When Bruno's gone, he ain't our captain no more. Watch us fly. Do you remember when Maguire being a captain was the reason we couldn't win games? It's all fugazi, but people fall for it every single time. Every single time they fall for it. It doesn't mean that there is not like merit in what they're saying. If you get wrong, it doesn't mean there isn't merit in it. It doesn't mean that they're not. It doesn't mean that they're not talking some sort of sense. If you get where I'm coming from, it doesn't mean there isn't some sense in this. It's just this sort of. I want to make sure I say this in the right way. It's just one of these things that I look at and think to myself, I think we could do with being more honest as a fan base. I think we need to stop scapegoating certain players and certain individuals and just be that little bit more honest, that little bit more open, that little bit more consistent with the past. That's my biggest bugbear in all of this. I'm not even protecting Ruben. I'm trying to protect my football club from us making more and more terrible decisions. And remember, each manager has left us in a worse position than the last guy. Following the same patterns again, what is going to make it better this time? And I don't want to hear, but we'll win a few more games. To what end? Where's that going to leave us? Still angry. The problem is we bring in exotic managers, but we haven't got the exotic players to do what they need. We need a simple manager. I agree with that the most. And let's move on slightly to the Unai Emery conversation, because Unai Emery today is linked to Manchester United, according to Gimme Sport, and they have said that Emery is emerging as the favourite to replace Ruben Amorim. I am more for Oliver Glasner, Ruben Amorim, or Nuno than I am any of the other names that we've been mentioned and linked to. More than any of them. That is who I'm more encouraged by. That's who I'm more encouraged by, is Unai Emery, Oliver Glasner, or Nuno. The order I would go in would be Nuno, Emery, Glasner. And straight away, I know what the reaction is going to be. Oh, that is crazy, man. We've got to go for the Xavis, the Areolas, the football. It's beautiful, etc. I'm not too concerned about the formation, but the formation plays a part. But the free four mentioned by me have and can play three at the back. And we've started to build a squad for that. And I think that's key. But equally, if you look at all... I'm not too sure about Oliver Glasner, but they are more versatile in their formations, if that makes sense. They will and have adapted in the past. So I think it's really, really important that you look at Unai Emery as an example. Does play with three at the back. He plays like a 3-2-4-1. Has played 4-4-2. He's played a number, okay? So he mixes it up a little bit in that regard. Nuno, the primary formation is four at the back, but again, has played three at the back at his time. And of course, Oliver Glasner as well. If I just want to check I'm right. This is all off memory, by the way. This isn't something I necessarily focus on. Tactics, three at the back is primarily what he does, okay? But has been known to go with four, but primarily plays with three. And the reason why I'm focused on that is I want a little bit more versatility, and I want a little bit someone that can go, do you know what, today 4 will work, today 5 will work. Today I'm going to put 3 in midfield, tomorrow I'm going to put 2 in midfield. Maybe I want a little bit more versatility, but I don't think you're deviating too far from the plan. The reason I also I'm not against these managers is I think Man United fans needed the biggest reality check in the history of this football club. In fact, let me rephrase that. That's probably wrong because I'm not old enough to say that, actually. We need the biggest reality check of the last 45 years. We need the biggest reality check of the last 45 years. Forget our name for a moment. We ain't that anymore. We're not. And although I don't believe any one of those three managers has got there's no proof, no indicator they've got the ability to win us a Premier League, I don't even think we should be thinking about a manager that can win us the Premier League right now. I almost feel that murkies the waters and gets in the way. Maybe they will. Maybe Oliver Glasner comes in, Unai Emery comes in, they build us to a certain level, we keep spending, and we sail off into the sunset and we realise they're brilliant. I think what those three would represent is a person that could make us hard to beat, win more games, whilst the squad is being built and grown, and take us to a certain point, 2 years in, 3 years in, and then maybe the next guy that comes in is the person that takes us over the line. I think we need that reality check. There is no quick fix to this football club. Yes, a new guy could come in and we could have an amazing first 3 months, 6 months, and everyone goes, Terry, look how good we are, I knew it. It will level out. It will level out. Believe you me, it will level out with this squad. The squad's a massive problem. The culture is still a problem. When it comes to Unai Emery, what's my concern? My concern, personally, is... How do I say this? Every time he's been at a giant club, the pressure he's succumbed to the pressure. Even at Aston Villa, when he's had moments, FA Cup semi-finals, not gone right. Big game last season in the race for top 4. United last game of the season, team was awful. The City game away, should have got something out of the game, lost it late. There's another one that stands out to me. The Champions League game. Rashford on fire. They've got PSG on the ropes. They're probably going to come back. Takes his best player off in Rashford. They don't create another opportunity to score. Longer term, Unai Emery worries me. And that's the other, and he isn't the only one of the three. They all worry me because the football with either of them, either three of them, isn't exciting. They're not superstar names that get the mouth watering and the blood flowing and the heart pumping, and they would come under excruciating scrutiny straight away, which maybe they're not used to. A big percentage of our fan base would kick off, "We're Man United. This ain't good enough. We need the elite of the elite." But that isn't going to work either, as a few of your comments have already alluded to. We haven't got the facilities for that anymore. We are stuck between a rock and a hard place. We really are. And I think I know what the response will be. Terry, you can't lower the standards. It's not about lowering the standards. It's about understanding where we are and what it's going to take to get us back to the top. And let me just ask you this question to everyone who disagrees with me. Can you find me a sports team of similar size to Man United? Why size? Because the pressure from the media and fans is an important factor in the deliverables. Find one our size who has fallen from grace to the depths of depravity that we are at, okay, for over a decade, who with the appointment of a singular superstar manager have turned things round quickly. Show me that example. This is the thing for me. Show me that example. And I don't think it exists. And it doesn't need to be Nuno. I personally, I'm a bit biased. I know Nuno. I've worked with Nuno. Great guy. Oliver Glasner is actually my preferred candidate in this example because of the formation. By the way, I'm not against an Areola. The only reason I'm not saying him is because we don't have any left wingers, and I think it will cause us problems. But if it was him, my philosophy is still the same. It's going to take years to fix this. My hope would be that they come in and increase the win percentage by 15, 20, 25%, and that gives gives them the patience from the fans and the media needed. But I have no real hope in that because I've seen previous managers with that same percentage of wins that everyone's now asking for. I heard someone yesterday go, Unai Emery's got to go. Why? Amorim's got to go. Why? We need a manager that can fix us. We need X. Okay, can X fix us? Why? Can at least get us in that top 8. I'm like, you really think being in the top 8 is going to satisfy Man United fans for that long? It will take no more than a couple of months of being at that level until they lose their minds as well. And I just think all these managers will succumb to the pressure. It's a real hard one for me. Definitely not the Dallas Cowboys. This super chat here from Grunt says, if Amorim is sacked, would you bring an interim until the end of the season, then bring the new boss in, avoiding the mid-season problems Ruben faced? This will also prove to me whether or not we're actually moving in the right direction overall. So if we're not changing direction, if the profile of players that the new head coach likes and prefers match with what we're scouting and what we've already bought, forget formation per se, but we should be moving in a particular direction that is suited to a certain type of manager. Klopp to Slot as a prime example. In fact, Rodgers to Klopp to Slot, there was great crossover in them. Differences, but a massive crossover where the club isn't going in a brand new direction. Okay, we were heading north, now we're going south. All right, we're not going south anymore, we're going east. You never get to your destination. You just go around in circles. So if we're still moving in the same direction, how all top clubs are run, we don't need an interim. Because a new guy coming in should be able to pick the baton up and say, I can just do a better job. And maybe the new guy comes in and says, look, I'm the same as Ruben in 80% of the way I coach, the profiles I want, the system, maybe even the formation. My difference is I adapt here and I adapt there. I'm a bit more malleable here. I'm a little bit more agile there. And I think I can yield an extra 25%, 30% win ratio. Okay, to break it down. So you don't need to change direction. If we're going to go in a completely new direction, we're going to go to 4-3-3, we're going to have marauding wingers. There is an argument to say let's bring in an interim for the rest of the season to see out the way we're playing, buy the left wingers, buy the midfielders, and then give that all to a brand new manager and go, have a full pre-season and make it work. Because what will happen if the new guy comes in and we don't have the midfield for their game, and we don't have the left wingers for their game, and we don't have the defenders for their game? Remember, our defenders will then be exposed more because there's not 3 of them, and we know we've had CM problems, right? When we were playing 4 at the back, our CMs were getting exposed so much more. We know if there's an imbalance in Areola's system or a 4-3-3 system, it might not be the same fans losing their minds with Amorim, but a different group will lose their minds and not be patient with a new guy. So there is great merit in what you're saying, Grunt. But if we need to give the next manager grace in that way, that means we're changing direction. And if we're changing direction again, I lose 99.9% faith in Ineos completely. We're done. Why? Because it would mean that they've been here 18 months. They've maintained one manager. They made a decision to keep Ten Hag, then Ruben, then whoever the new guy is. So 3 managers in 18 months 3 times changing direction. That is the complete mirror image of one of the biggest failings of this board in the previous 12 years that's led to this. I can't back it. I don't care who the manager is. I don't care who we're signing. I cannot back the behaviour that has fouled for 12 years plus. I can't back it. So for me, that's an amazing super chat. One of the best I've ever seen. Such a great question. Such a great question. It's continuing on our path. I don't care how painful it gets. We've got to build this squad we've started building. We've got to build the squad that we've started building. So maybe we need a manager who we believe is good enough, of course, but someone that can play this current formation, but who can also adapt and go, do you know what? We're not playing that today. We're going to slightly change and go. We're going to go 4-3-3 for this game. And maybe we need a manager that can do that for a game or two, and then we'll revert back. Maybe that's why Unai Emery is the right guy. Now, I'm not a massive fan of Unai Emery because I think he could get us to a point, and then we need a new guy, and that's also fine. I'm comfortable with that. I was in the gym when me and Mark were talking about what we're going to speak on the show on the show today, and I was sort of sitting there and I was like, oh, Unai Emery, and then I sort of thought about it and thought to myself, well, that's because I don't rate him to get us over the line, but then I don't think we need that right now. And some will say my standards are too low. I don't think they are. I think my standards are rational. I don't care if I offend anyone. I think my understanding of the problems at this club are as good as anybody's. I think most people miss our root cause problems all the time. And I think there's this element of lower the immediate short-term expectations to achieve them in the longer term. We are always... Look at it this way. Imagine your dream. I want to squat 3 times, 4 times my body weight. Imagine that's your dream. If you go gym, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Like I read somewhere once that if you can squat your own body weight, you're basically seen as, or 125% of your own body weight, you're only seen as like a beginner when it comes to weightlifting. That's how strong and militant these individuals are. Let's say your goal is 3 times your body weight. You could train for 3, 4, 5 weeks and then attempt it, but you might break an ankle, you might break your knees, your shins might shatter. You could end up with your shin bones through your shoulders. You could break your back, break your neck. You could pass out unconscious and the bar drops on your head and kills you. All those things could happen. And that's Man United fans. That's the snake oil salesman. That's the silver bullet merchants. That's the I have a wonder. I'll tell you what they do, right? This here is just an oil for my hair. But I'll tell you what they do. This is what they do. They're taking old man gyro. Or stick it in my belly. They're taking the jabs. Or they've had a sleeve done, that their stomach cut out, right? They're losing all this weight. And everyone's like, oh my God, look at you. And you done well. So what's that now? Yeah, 7 stone down, 7 stone down. How have you done it? What they don't tell you is they've been taking jabs. They've been going to the gym. What they have been eating has been very healthy. They've cut out all the alcohol. It's been a long, hard slog. It's been brutal. You know, the body rejected the jab initially. They had a bad stomach. They've been through hell. But they've lost the 7 stone. They're in a better position and they're healthier. What they're doing is this. They're saying, take one of these Holland and Barrett pills every day for the next 3 months and you can do what I've done. I've changed nothing about my lifestyle. All that I've done is taken this one pill once every morning and look, 7 stone has miraculously left my body. That's what most Man United fans online do. They're bullshitting. They're lying to you. It's BS. We're never going to be fixed that easy and quickly. We're not. If we keep changing directions, one manager in itself isn't going to fix us. There's so much more going on here. So for me, I don't mind Unai Emery. I don't mind Nuno. I don't mind Oliver Glasner. Personally, because I can lower my expectations in the short term. In the short term, to make us harder to beat, to make us more stable, to get us back into the top half, to make teams respect us a little bit more, whilst we build the squad out. Then 18 months, 2 years in, we might be looking at it and saying, okay, we've got to go to the next level now. If that manager can't deliver it, upgrade, but continue in the right direction. You find another head coach, similar in terms of the profiles that he wants, the way he plays, who's just better, okay? Who's just better than what you've got, and go to the next level. I'm all about taking the baby steps, the step change progression to get back to the top, because I do not believe that one manager just fixes us overnight. And even if a new coach like Emery comes in or Xavi comes in or Areola and we're like, wow, look how much better we look. Still going to take years to get to fix us. What is fixing us? Being able to challenge for a league almost every single year consistently. That's when I think we're fixed. Until then, top 4, trophy here or there, maybe the odd title challenge. With what we spend on salary, with what we spend on players, with the amount of money we generate as a football club, being fixed is being in and around that title race every year. When we're in the Champions League, it not being laughable that we might win it. Until we're looked at in that way by ourselves and our peers, we're not fixed. So when people go, oh, this guy will fix us, this will happen. I'm like, fix us to what end? Because none of us felt fixed under Jose, fixed under OVG, fixed under Oli, fixed under Ten Hag. It's almost like now we're going to accept that level. But I thought the standard was to get back to the very top. It hasn't changed for me. My standards aren't changing. I'm just realistic about what it's going to take to get us there. Let's go back to some more of your comments here, people. Emery is just going to be worse than Emery, 20th position. Listen, they're not very good at the minute, Villa. I don't necessarily blame Unai Emery. The club overspent, and it left them in a position where they were losing players. They've not been able to invest properly. And I just think maybe his time at the club has come to an end. Do I think Emery would improve Man United short term, maybe even medium term? Yes. Do I think he's good enough to make us a team that could win the Premier League? No. But can we actually, right now, one, attract a manager that's genuinely good enough to win us a league? And 2, do we have the facilities for them to deliver that? 3, would they wait around for that to be built? I'm not sure. Lee here says, you keep changing managers until you get the right one. I'm expecting at least 3 new coaches before we get the new stadium. Well, it's not just, when you say right one, what do you mean? You've got to quantify that. What does the right one mean? Maybe what we need is the coach who makes us harder to beat, makes us stable, helps us build the squad, and then the next guy wins us the league. Which one would you consider the right one? The guy that wins us the league or the guy that helped rebuild it? There might be a guy that can do both. But what is, I'm not even saying you're wrong, Lee. I need to understand what you consider to be the right one. Because I don't understand that comment anymore, generally speaking. I think the only way we ever get the backing to some level of competence is to somehow, some way get the ownership removed. Well, there's only one way to get the ownership removed, and fans aren't willing to do it, unfortunately. It means everyone boycotts. Everyone gives up, cancel MUTV, unfollow on X, to a point where maybe we don't tweet about the club. We don't go to games. And I know everyone will say, but tourists will go. Fine. Everyone who goes to games, stand around the stadium on match day. 4 or 5 people thick and let no one in. Or even better, everyone who normally goes to games, just go stand outside the team hotel so they can't leave and get the game called off. There are things we can do. But no, not enough of us are willing to do it, which is fair, because no one's obligated to do it. But as long as we keep giving the Glazers, and if you think Ineos are as bad, if we keep giving Ineos and the Glazers our money, we keep going to games, renewing season tickets, buying MUTV, why would they go? Forget how much you despise them. Imagine you run a business that keeps getting more and more valuable, keeps making you more and more money in the longer term. If the customers or the fans or the consumers hate you, but they don't leave, why would you, answer me this one question. Why would you ever leave? Why would you leave? Why would you sell? The players have nothing to lose because they can't be punished for poor, inconsistent performances. Can't be fired or fined. They hold all the power. I just feel some players don't care about individual legacy. Yeah, I don't think they care about it as a collective, because that's the culture of Man United Football Club. No one does care enough. And it's been going on for a long, long time. And I don't personally see it changing too much, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. I really don't see it changing too much at all. Let's have a look at some more of your comments here. Ask yourself this from Baz. Ask yourself this. Who is deciding how we want to play as a club? Wilcock. I doubt the board have discussed how Man United want to play long-term and in the future. But you know what, Baz? If they haven't done that, then again, appointing the manager is just, you're pissing in the wind. It might land in a bush, might go all over your face. You should know how you want to play, the kind of players that are needed to do it, and then the coach to bring it all together. And if we don't have that plan, everything we're talking about is fugazi. Everything we're talking about is immaterial. All the rants, all the screaming, all the shouting, all the threats, all the tears, all the anger, all the fans fighting one another, verbally that is all for nothing. If the club don't have a plan, it's broken. It can't work. Where you gonna go today? Don't know. How you gonna get there? Haven't planned it yet. What vehicle are you gonna use? Don't know. Well, you're gonna go nowhere. You're finished. You're finished. We're finished. Can't we just stick with a manager to actually see a project through? We've been declining since Jose. JK, the problem is no, we can't. We should, but we can't. The reason we can't is because the players, and it's just really funny. The players do what they're doing now. Don't like the system, don't like this, don't like that. That will lead to getting relegated, and the players won't care because they'll just get released and move on somewhere else. So you have to end up moving the manager on. But every time you do that, you set the precedent that the players can just say, well, we don't like this, and a change happens. We don't have to work hard. Remember, Ragnick was Ted Lasso. Ollie was the PE teacher. Jose was too strict. You can go back and find all these articles right back to David Moyes in 2014 with them moaning about training. And we've allowed that precedent. We've allowed that behaviour. We've allowed that to grow each time. And it's now out of control. We've created a monster. And the fans are accountable as much as the owners. Because what we do each time, and it's different groups, not the same people, but we're like, I hate Jose, so I back the players. Next time round, I don't like Ole, so I'm going to back the players saying he's like a PE teacher. This Ragnick guy winds me up. Yeah, he's like Ted Lasso, I back him. Each time there's a very loud group that backs it. The media jump on it. The players feel empowered. If your children, if your staff members get cut corners and get away with things and you don't reprimand them, they'll do it more and more and more and more and more and more and more until they're out of control. And that's what's happened to this club. Lee Dixon's back. There's another thing, Terry. I've been looking at the under-18s and reserves playing 4-1, 4-2, 3-1. There's issues deeper. Well, but listen, equally, if our academies are not playing how the first team's trying to play, it should also be shut down. So maybe we do go back to a 4-2-3-1 and it works. The maddest bit is we've sold all the players that can play on the left. Maybe that will become the priority for January to buy them. But whatever we do, we've got to stick to a plan. And I don't care who our manager is. I don't care who or how we're trying to play. I don't care who we buy. If there is no long-term vision to how we're going to play football, the types of formations that style of football and those profiles of players will work in, we're finished. We are done. For good, forever. Why do I know this to be a fact? Because every other club that is successful has that plan in place, has that vision in place. We can't be the only one without it and expect the same results. It's crazy. There has to be a strategy. Has to be. At every level. It really, really does. Xavi with the 4-3-3, playing tiki-taka ball. Am I kidding myself? Well, our current players don't want to play that style of football, T. They don't want to play that football. They want to play sit back, absorb, counter. That's how a lot of them like to play. They're not going to want to play like that. Do you know why? Harder work as well. Really hard work playing like that. Because when you play further up the pitch, you have to track back harder and more. Our players don't want to do it. Have you noticed we have like 15, 20-minute spells in games where we go, oh, wow. And then we stop. Well, do you think the ability of the players just dries up suddenly? Oh, it's gone now. They're not like Cinderella. They get 20 minutes into the game and, the carriage turns back into a pumpkin and the glass slipper falls off. It's because they don't want to work that half of 90 minutes. They haven't got the mentality to work that half of 90 minutes. The manager can say what he wants. I get why the manager said he has no problem with that. He's trying to keep him on side. But it's an obvious thing to me. We can't play no 4-3-3 tiki-taka long term. Not with these insubordinate kids. And that's the biggest thing for me. Ruben, there's all this criticism for Ruben that I agree with. I'm not even defending him. I'm just looking at the real root cause problems. Every time we've thought about sacking a manager, I've spoke about these things. Always been told I'm wrong. Always end up being right. It's horrible. I hate it. I so want to be wrong. I'd love to change managers and go today, bring in Areola. By Christmas we're top of the league. And everyone's like, oh, Terry, you were wrong, man. I'd say yes. And I'm so glad that actually these issues that I thought were still there were fixed. I'm so glad they were fixed. I'm so glad we continue moving in the right direction. It wasn't just the manager that fixes, it was the strategy, it was the Ineos plan. Thank God. I so hope I'm wrong. I couldn't say how happy I would be to be wrong. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen though, does it? It's awful. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. Give me your thoughts, give me your opinions in the comment section below. I want to thank the United Stand community, absolute legends as always, for having me here. The team, obviously Champions League football later on tonight, so make sure you're all enjoying that. Do me a favour before you leave though as well. I want to get your comments below around, do you want the manager backed more? Do you want him replaced? If so, with who? What are your biggest concerns? Would love to hear from you in relation to that. Until next time, everybody, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very soon.